With games being pushed back recently, it looks like 2022 is going to be a stellar year for new games. So which upcoming Xbox Series X and S games can you look forward to playing this year? With releases such as Halo Infinite, Psychonauts 2 and Forza Horizon 5 already having been pushed out the door, what else is up Microsoft's exclusive sleeve to keep gamers occupied and their eyeballs focused on the TV? Well, let's take a look at some Xbox exclusives that are due to hit this year, with some coming out very soon. And I won't be ranking these games based on quality, as of course I haven't played them, but they are ranked on which ones I'm looking forward to most. Plus, these games have some sort of date put on them, whether it's a specific day or just sometime in 2022. There's also a couple of games I've left off, such as Hellblade 2 and Avowed, which I don't think will make it out this year. As always, please give the video a like, give it a share, subscribe and comment down below letting me know which games you're most excited for and looking forward to. Stop by the Discord, but now let's get stuck into games and more games. Let's go. So at number 10, it's SCORN, and ever since I first saw this game showed off, I thought it really could have gone either way, and I still think the same way now. This first-person survival / horror game really needs to get some certain things right if it's going to be the game I want it to be. From a visuals perspective, it looks impressive and it gives off this creepy vibe, and if that can then lead into some really intense encounters with the creatures here and create a great atmosphere, then it could be something to look forward to. Based upon what has been shown though, I do have my concerns when it comes to the visual aesthetic as well, and whether it's going to grow stale walking around the same sorts of environments and corridors. And this is where hopefully the environmental storytelling can kick things up a notch and really grab the player and pull them into this world. If not, then you'll be able to shoot some creatures in the face with the weapons on offer. So hey, there's always that. For number 9, we have Replaced, and considering I'm not the biggest fan of the pixel art style in general, there is enough here to get my juices flowing with everything else. The futuristic action platformer seems to have a huge amount of style and atmosphere pouring from it, which I like a lot, and much of that comes down to its dystopian world and retro alt 1980s setting. You play as an AI trapped in a human body, and it's up to you to navigate your way through this society that is ruled by corruption and greed. If Replaced can take all of these elements and bring it all together in a story laden with mystery and intrigue, then it could be one to keep an eye out for. There's been a number of really fantastic indie games over the last year or two, and Replaced only looks to add to it. It already looks like one I want to play, and if it can nail the story and the combat as well, then this is one for those indie 2D platform lovers out there. Next at number 8, we have SOMERVILLE, and this is yet another indie title that just looks fantastic in its art design. And is it just me, or over the last few years especially, these smaller indie games seem to be coming out with more and more beautiful visuals, including the art design, which just looks superb. Being the debut title from Jumpship, the first game of course could go either way, but one of the company's co-founders worked on the games Limbo and Inside, and they were bloody awesome. Both of them. So my expectations are higher than normal based on that alone. This third-person game sees you follow a family of 3 after a major post-apocalyptic event, which will see you explore the world as you interact with other survivors. But just like those other games I mentioned, the story is told through the environment and the visuals, and there is no spoken dialogue. Another one to keep an eye out for. At number 7 is REDFALL, a game coming from Arkane Studios, the developers behind the Dishonored franchise, Deathloop, the fantastic Prey game from 2017, which is a must-play, and Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is the kind of shitty one of the series and not a must-play. But REDFALL sees you pick one of 4 playable characters, which of course sees each have different abilities that they bring to the team, and this one sees you in a place called REDFALL, which has become isolated, and wouldn't you know it, a whole army of vampires now are here, and which you're going to need to fight off. Of course, having multiple player characters, this means co-op is going to be a major component of the game and will be important to its fun factor and longevity. So hopefully the gameplay is fun and interesting enough that this doesn't simply be an entree before most players move on to something else. Hopefully not, and hopefully Arkane can work some magic too. For number 6, it's shredders, and snowboarding games seem to have been mostly forgotten about, whilst 20 years ago, it seemed like there was more demand for them as well, and extreme sports. But here comes another, and let's hope it can bring back the fun of the original Amped on the OG Xbox. There really isn't anything that will blow your mind here when it comes to story or characters or anything like that. This is all about snowboarding, and with some decent visuals, I don't think this is going to blow anyone away, but if they can nail the gameplay and get the feel of snowboarding down right, and maybe include some co-op and multiplayer, and have new events come up whereby players can earn some new gear, then Shredders might do enough to get some attention from gamers. This is the perfect game for Game Pass, as I don't see many people dropping full price or even a sale price on a snowboarding game these days, or something similar, but this could be fun as hell. Up at number 5 is Forza Motorsport 8, and I'll call it that to make it easy, but the next game is actually just going to be called Forza Motorsport, and has had a longer development cycle than usual. But what more can you say about racing games on Xbox, apart from the fact that between this series and Forza Horizon, Microsoft has made some shit hot races for gamers, whether you're after the more sim-like game or the more casual and laid back, but still just as brilliant Forza Horizon series. Extra time has been given to refine the engine behind the game, which will no doubt play a part in the next Forza Horizon game as well. But seeing as Forza Motorsport is dropping the number from the title, perhaps the game will get some extra types of races, cars or modes. Maybe borrowing a page from the Forza Horizon series, but keeping the more sim-like approach. Not much else is known about the game, and there still isn't a definite release date as yet, but I've decided to put this on the list as I really can't see this not coming out at the end of this year, and we know it's going to be great. At number 4 we have STARFIELD, and some are probably thinking this would top the list, and even though I'm a big fan of Bethesda games, always enjoying Fallout or Elder Scrolls, but the ideas behind STARFIELD are more exciting than anything we've seen so far, and one bloody trailer isn't enough for me to lose my mind over the game, but I am excited for it. If this expands upon what Fallout and Elder Scrolls have offered up until this point, then I'll be happy. But I'm wanting their storytelling to step up and really be something memorable, and I don't want the NPCs to have that kinda shitty animation that Bethesda games have had for so long now, it seems. STARFIELD needs to be that next great franchise from the studio, and it needs to have attention and care paid to all parts of it. It needs to look and feel next gen. It's slated for a release at the end of the year, but who knows what happens. It may eventually slip into 2023. But for the time being, this is probably Microsoft's biggest release of the year, and if the marketing ramps up as it nears closer, then expect this to be an even bigger deal than it is now. Now we need to see some actual gameplay and the scope that the game has. Coming in at number 3 is CROSSFIREX, and this one is coming very soon, and we haven't seen or heard a lot about this one, but it's the campaign which I'm looking forward to the most, as it comes from Remedy Games, the studio behind the first Max Payne games, Control and Quantum Break. This will also have a single player campaign along with the multiplayer side of things. Now the multiplayer will be free to play, but the campaign is a paid purchase and is split up into episodes. So possibly and hopefully the single player evolves over time and more missions drop for it. We've had the trailer and some gameplay footage of the game so far, but hopefully the game holds up once it's released and it's a fun time with good gunplay and some decent narrative to go along with it. Seeing as Remedy are involved, I'm expecting something good, but also not 100% sure as there hasn't been a lot of talk about it or people going hands on with it. How this one performs in multiplayer will also be something to keep an eye on too, as there is just so much competition out there right now. At number 2 is S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chernobyl, and unfortunately this one was meant to come out in April but has since been pushed back to December, and this one is a console launch exclusive for Xbox, so expect this one to come out on other platforms like the PlayStation sometime after that. The first person shooter is set in a world overrun by creatures and has this constant bleak atmosphere to go along with it, and even though it's bleak, dark and dirty, from what has been shown off, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 looks beautiful and should be a real showcase for the Xbox Series X as well when it comes out. Now there's a ton of first person shooter games out there, with more being released every hour it seems. But where this game can set itself apart hopefully is creating a story and a world which feels authentic and lived in, with characters we care about. If they can incorporate the storytelling into the environments, so as we wander around and explore, it feels like the world had a history before our character was there. This will be my first S.T.A.L.K.E.R game, and I think many others are in the same boat, so I'm really looking forward to this one. And for number 1, it's Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, and for anyone who hasn't played Vermintide 2 yet, then please finish this video first and then go grab yourself a copy, get some friends together and play it, as it's great, balanced, fun and an enjoyable co-op game that sees you using guns and swords, depending on the character you choose to play as, and it's just a whole lot of awesome fun. Even if only playing single player, it's still a great time. But now we have a similar co-op focused game, but now guns take more of a front seat, and the feeling and focus kind of shifts to something that also incorporates some more horror as you go about killing all of these excellent and faithfully designed creatures, and go about no doubt trying to take down some bosses as well. I'm hoping this one holds up in terms of single player as well as the co-op, as it looks downright awesome. Plus I don't really see how this one could be a letdown, at least for myself, as Vermintide 2 was such a great game. This one might not be high on people's lists, but it's definitely one that you should mark on your calendar when it comes out later this year. So there are my top 10 Xbox exclusives that you should be excited for, and which all should land on our consoles and PCs before the year ends. But please let me know down in the comments which games you're looking forward to most, and are there any ones I left off that you're excited for? If you liked the video, then please give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe, and stop by the Discord. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.